What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be covering the Apple River stabbings. If you're not familiar with this case, well, you're going to be, because this case is horrific. I mean, imagine being a teen, you're out with your friends, it's July, you live in a state that's cold, like 95% of the time, and you want to get out and spend some time on the water, enjoy the heat, have some fun. Teens are going to be teens, all right? And us as adults, we kind of have to weigh their immaturity at times. There is a side to this case that during the trial, I fought with myself. I went back and forth because the footage of this case, and yes, I said footage, there is literal camera footage from a phone of the entire incident. And it is graphic and it is horrible, and the screams are something that I would imagine you'd only hear in hell. This is horrible. It's a tragedy. And I still to this day cannot believe that there was only one fatality, and that was Isaac Schumann. I believe Isaac Schumann was 17 years old. This man that we're looking at right now, beer belly, hairy, grizzly, sure as hell doesn't look like the man that is now sentenced to, I believe it was 20 years minimum. But we'll get to that towards the end. I do want to go over briefly over the stabbing and maybe get into some of the footage that is allowed here. Hopefully it's not too graphic. If it is, I'll just cut some pieces out. So the Apple River was once an important route of trade for the logging industry. And today the river generates tourism revenue through recreation and resorts, attracting 500,000 visitors a year. Its relatively gentle rapids make it very popular for canoeing, tubing, camping, concerts, and is a popular fishing spot through all seasons. But on July 30th, 2022, 52-year-old Romanian-American Nicolae Miu attacked a group of teenagers with a pocket knife near Sunrise Bridge in the town of Somerset. After they taunted him repeatedly, he fatally injured 17-year-old Isaac Schumann by stabbing him in the chest and injured 4 others. On July 31st, 2024, Miu was found guilty of first-degree reckless homicide and 4 counts of attempted first-degree intentional homicide. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison and 6 years of probation. It was a tragedy all around. I mean, and me being a recovering alcoholic, I'm always going to be the one that says there was alcohol involved, and there was. And that played a key role into a lot of people's decision making this day. Let's try to get into some of this footage. I'm going to see what I can find and add it in right now. I do want to provide a little bit of context before I go ahead and start playing this video. And I also want to, I will put up on here as well, a huge trigger warning, because this is graphic. It's insanity that this was caught on camera, but also just life-saving, because it's like, you know, it's everybody's words against everybody, but when you have something recorded, you have the proof. This man apparently had been snorkeling prior, looking for his friend's phone. Which, in my case, it's like, what's the point of even finding the phone? It's going to be broken, whatever. That's nor here nor there. One of the teens made a statement passing by him, like, what are you doing? Snorkeling, something, you know. As an adult, we should just be ignoring these comments, because teens are teens. We were all them at one point, and we didn't, we just didn't think. We said stupid shit. Okay. We wanted to get under the skin of adults because we love to see them react. That's just the reality of being an immature teenager. This man apparently says something along the lines of, I'm looking at little girls. And that is when the taunting begins, and we're going to see how that ends.
Whoa! What's the way? What are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? Get away from us! What? What's going on with y'all homie? He's on camera. Scripting. He's on 4K. Yo, the new iPhone got that good quality. What did you say? Yeah, what the hell? Who is this? Yes. For the culture. Who is that? For the culture. Who is that? Who the hell is this? He said he was looking for little girls! He said he was looking for little girls! You're looking for little girls? Yeah! That's exactly what he said! Weirded us out! I didn't have that part on camera, did I? Some young ass kid! What the hell is this guy's problem, bro? We're trying to have fun. Is he gonna claim you? He's gonna claim you! We don't want this motherfucker! He ain't a woman! He ain't a woman! You ain't a woman! He ain't a woman! You killed him! What? He's fucking dying! He's dying, bro! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Are you serious? Is this real? Oh my god! Who is that? Oh my god! Oh my god! Is this real? Is this real? Oh my god! Oh my god, what the fuck? Is this real?
I am going to slow this down and talk about what is going on in these moments. So Nicolae Mew is obviously he's being taunted and by teens, okay? And instead of just walking away, he continues to come back. Okay, he continues to come back to the kids. At one point, he's trying to, I think he's trying to cut loose their rafts that are all combined together. Something of that nature instead of just walking away to his group. Is it annoying? Yes. Did he, I don't know who shoved him. We do have to go back and look at that because I can't remember at some point. So this woman here, I forgot her name, but she does testify in the trial. She gets punched in the face by Nicolae Mew. That is what caused one of the boys to shove Nicolae Mew to the ground after he punched her across the face. There he goes to the ground. And I believe Isaac Schumann, who's the one who did die during this, because he took the blade straight, I believe it went straight into his heart. He's in the blue pants, the blue swimsuit. Okay, they're like kind of roughing him up a little. He's on the ground. No one's kicking him. He has the knife in his hand now. And keep into context, he just literally sucker punched a woman in the face. I know that some people are going to have mixed. I still to this day have mixed. Even watching this, I'm like, oh my God, there's like 17s around him and it's just him. But at the same time, you have to think logically. Like, you're the adult. You should walk away from this. Instead, he sucker punches a woman another adult who tells him, like, walk away. They're just teens. They're just, walk away. And this is what ends up happening. So he's coming up from being pushed on the ground after sucker punching a woman. The knife is right. Oh, actually, the knife was in the other hand. It's right here. This is another passerby. This man was not in the yellow shorts, was not even a part of the teenage group. This guy, I do not know for the life of me how this man lived to be able to even tell his side of the story. He gets completely gutted right here. That knife goes in through below his belly button, I believe, and he literally fillets him up into his chest. He falls back. The man in the yellow shorts falls back. Nicolae Muse now viewing that he just gutted that guy. And people are starting to look at each other and go, holy shit, what the fuck's happening? This guy's intestines are hanging out. He has the knife right here. He's getting up. No one is on him. No one is punching him. There are no threats to him. He just filleted somebody open and he's ready for some more. Here he goes with the knife. He just starts stabbing all around. Everybody's in disbelief. He just has that knife and he's going. Stabs this girl in the side. I think at that point he had just stabbed Isaac Schumann in the chest. And then at this point, I believe that everybody's just in disbelief, wondering what the fuck is going on. And I believe at that point they realized that Isaac was stabbed in the chest. All right, now we're going to get into a little bit of the body cam. After Nicolae Mew committed these crimes, he then he ran from the scene, tossed the knife on sand under, I believe, like a bridge or something, and then got back with his friends and they left the river as if nothing happened.
I'm sorry, yeah. No,
Just being detained at this point, okay?
Yes.
What are we checking? Let me check it.
Precinct dispatch, believe we have a suspect detained. I believe we have a detained at the same.
No. No weapons or nothing like that?
No. 36 shows a possible suspect detained.
Okay.
Everybody hold where they're at. We need a photo so we can start this. I got it. I'm calling up on the cross bridge right now.
Like I said, you're being detained at this point, okay, boss?
I got a photo on my phone. I'll be there in a second.
Yeah. Chain matches. Shorts.
What's your name?
Nick. Nick what?
Nick Mew.
Okay.
Why? What did they do?
This way.
Double locked at this point.
All right, we'll worry about it over here.
He's got a silver
It
chain on him.
matches.
Silver blockchain.
Same shorts.
Yes. Let me double lock this quick. Like I said, sir, you're just detained at this point, okay? I'll explain anything in a second here. He got some pretty good markings on his hand, too. Alright. Yeah, so let's take a picture of that.
All right, now we're going to get into the sentencing. I will put the trial link, all of that down below. If you don't see that right away when I do post these videos, I do go back and add them in later, just depending on my schedule. Sometimes it's a lot busier than normal. I don't have the time to put it underneath there right away, but I will get to it. I do promise that. So this trial, I believe, lasted about, I want to say, a week, maybe? Either way, I will label that all down below. Here is the sentencing. A much slimmer and sadder looking Nicolae Miu as he's learning his fate after the murder of Isaac Schumann.
In court for sentencing. Count 1 is first-degree reckless homicide, which is a Class B felony. With the dangerous weapon enhancer, the maximum possible penalty is 45 years of incarceration, initial confinement, and 20 years of extended supervision. On counts 2 through 5, Mr. Miu appears for sentencing on first-degree reckless endangerment, Class F felonies with the dangerous weapon enhancer. The maximum possible penalties are 12.5 years initial confinement and 5 years of extended supervision. Last count 6 is battery. That is a misdemeanor. With the dangerous weapon enhancer, he faces a maximum possible sentence of 15 months. In preparation for today's sentencing, I reviewed a number of materials. First, I reviewed the pre-sentence investigation report prepared by the Department of Corrections. It's a 43-page report that provided me with information that I knew and information that I did not know about Mr. Miu, about his victims, families, about Mr. Miu's background, about all aspects of this case, many of which were talked about today. That PSI report also included a sentencing recommendation. I also reviewed Mr. Nelson's sentencing memorandum. It too was very helpful. It provided more information about Mr. Miu and his background, and I valued that information. Mr. Nelson submitted numerous letters from Mr. Miu's personal friends and coworkers. I read all of those. I also read the relevant portions of the file, including the complaint, the jury instructions, and the verdict. In a moment, I will pronounce a sentence that I believe is just and fair. When deciding on a sentence, I must consider the gravity of the offense, including the effect on the victims. I must consider Mr. Miu's character and his rehabilitative needs. I must consider the need to protect the public. The sentence must be based on the facts of the case and the law, not personal considerations, passions, or prejudices. But judges in Wisconsin have a great deal of discretion when imposing a sentence. Unlike many jurisdictions, we do not have sentencing guidelines or grids to follow. I want all of you to know that I have given this case a great deal of thought. I take my responsibility seriously. There is nothing more difficult or more solemn than imposing a sentence on another human being. As far as the gravity of the offense, the jury has spoken. Any efforts to relitigate this case are simply without merit. I firmly believe that the American criminal justice system is the best ever devised. It's not perfect, but I cannot think of a system of justice that is better at finding the truth while preserving the rights of the accused. In this case, 12 jurors reached a unanimous verdict. These 12 jurors were selected from a panel of more than 150 people. I, along with the attorneys for both sides, chose these jurors because they could be fair and impartial. The jurors came from all corners of our great county. They came from all walks of life. They were men, they were women, they were young, they were old. They listened to 8 days of intense trial testimony. They examined dozens of exhibits. They deliberated for 8 hours. In the end, they reached a unanimous verdict and found beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. Mew was guilty of reckless homicide, reckless endangerment, and battery. Now, there are two key takeaways from this jury's verdict that I want to mention. First, the jury rejected the state's claim that Mr. Mew intended to kill Isaac Schumann or the surviving stabbing victims. In other words, the jury rejected the most serious crimes that would have sent Mr. Mew to prison for the rest of his life. Second, the jury rejected Mr. Mew's claims of self-defense. That means Mr. Mew did not reasonably believe that he was preventing or terminating an unlawful interference with his person, or he did not reasonably believe the force used was necessary to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm to himself. This jury found Mr. Mew guilty of reckless homicide and 4 counts of reckless endangerment. These crimes are serious. They mean that Mr. Mew did not think about the consequences of his behavior and that he showed utter disregard for life when he stabbed 5 people. For that, he will be held accountable, but the court's sentence must reflect the reality that it was reckless conduct that the jury found him guilty of, not intentional conduct, which is punishable much more harshly. In weighing the gravity of the offense, I consider the impact these crimes have had on the victims. The battery to Madison Cohen was unjustified. While she did not suffer any permanent physical injuries, she has mentally suffered over this entire ordeal. She described to the PSI author the toll this case has taken and continues to take on her. This offense has devastated Isaac Schumann's parents and stepfather. No parent should have to endure the loss of a child. They have had to cope with the senseless death of a loved one while enduring the weight of the criminal justice system that can be slow, confusing, and sometimes frustrating to victims. To you and to your family, there are probably no words that I can say today that will alleviate your grief. But I would be remiss for not expressing my sincere condolences to all of you. I am sorry for your loss and what you've had to endure. Although it must have been difficult, I appreciate each of you speaking today and sharing a glimpse into Isaac's life and who he was. It sounds like he was a wonderful person, bright young man who had an unlimited future. And for that, we in this community have lost. A.J. Martin and Riley Madison would have died on that riverbank had it not been for the swift action of law enforcement and EMTs and other tubers who helped to treat their wounds and stabilize their condition. They had long hospital stays, but they were very fortunate to receive high-quality medical treatment that restored their health. But we heard from them about the toll this matter has taken on their health, their mental psyche, and their prospects for the future. Anthony Carlson and Dante Carlson's wounds were less severe, but the risk to life was still present, obviously because the knife was directed into their torso near vital organs. But they fortunately have survived. Each of these surviving stabbing victims suffered permanent physical disfigurement, and that can't be overlooked. And we've heard from A.J. Martin just about how that disfigurement can affect one's life. In assessing Mr. Mew's character, I must consider his conduct on July 30. Mr. Mew's crimes were the product of circumstance, not intent. Mr. Mew was not looking to cause trouble or hurt anyone, but he made a series of very poor decisions. When confronted with words and boorish taunts and insults, Mr. Mew drew a knife and he struck Madison Cohen. That quickly culminated in senseless, lethal violence. He left the scene, leaving his victims to die, while casually floating past them and emergency workers as if nothing had happened. He nearly reached his car. He nearly escaped the jurisdiction before law enforcement arrested him. These are terrible acts that form an indelible stain on his character. There is more to Mr. Mew than his worst acts. I can tell Mr. Mew has taken this case very seriously. He has been appropriate and respectful in his demeanor in court. I sense that he carries a heavy burden, too. I imagine he is disheartened at the prospect of prison and the uncertainty of his future. But I also sense that Mr. Mew feels genuine sadness and remorse for what happened to his victims. I agree with the comments earlier that our criminal justice system is not designed in a way to allow people to apologize or to alleviate grief or to show respect to victims until a day like today at sentencing. That is unfortunate, but I heard Mr. Mew's words, both today and before, and I think he is sorry. Other than his conduct on July 30, Mr. Mew appears to be a quiet, nonviolent, peaceful man. He's never been in trouble before. He is loved by his family and friends. He's generous with his time. He helps others who are less fortunate or who are in need. Mr. Mew is respected in his community. Several of his personal friends and coworkers submitted letters that describe his character. Those letters were not shared in court today, but some of the most common words they use to describe Mr. Mew are kind, compassionate, friendly, loyal, respectful, and honest. Mr. Mew had to overcome great obstacles in life to achieve his place. He and his family suffered at the brutal hands of the communist regime in Romania. When he was a teenager, he and his family fled. They found asylum in the United States. Here, he adjusted to a new country, new language, new culture. He got good grades in high school. He went on to college in South Dakota. He became an engineer. He worked hard. He had a successful career. I read somewhere in my materials that the proudest moment in Mr. Mew's life was becoming an American citizen. Mr. Mew has no rehabilitative needs. That means he doesn't need rehabilitation. He has no past criminal history. He does not associate with criminals. He has never used illegal drugs. He is not an alcoholic. He has not been diagnosed with a mental health condition, although there is evidence that he's experienced PTSD from July 30 while in the jail. Mr. Mew is educated. He has vocational skills. He has life skills. He's financially secure. He has a stable home. He has positive social supports. He knows the difference between right and wrong. He doesn't need rehabilitation. I mention all of these things to acknowledge that there is a lot more to Mr. Mew than what he did on July 30. I mention these things to recognize that a fair and just sentence takes into account the complete person, not just his worst acts at his lowest moment. Despite the seriousness of Mr. Mew's crimes, the evidence does not show that he poses an imminent risk to the public. Mr. Mew underwent a compass assessment, which is an actuarial tool that measures a person's risk of committing future crimes. Not surprisingly, Mr. Mew scored low risk. He's not a career criminal. He's not a violent predator. Although Mr. Mew may not pose an imminent risk to the public does have a strong interest in holding people accountable who breach the social compact and commit crimes. It's the concept of punishment. Punishment is a sentencing objective. When a person commits a serious crime, that person forfeits rights enjoyed by the law-abiding community. The most restrictive punishments are reserved for those who commit the most serious crimes. But punishment exacts a toll on the offender because of the harm the offender caused to the victim and the community. Taking life and endangering the lives of others are two crimes that warrant significant punishment. Punishment for what Mr. Mew did, but also punishment that recognizes who he is and the circumstances of his crimes. Here, that punishment will involve the loss of liberty, because anything else would depreciate the seriousness of his crimes. So at this time, I will impose the following sentence on Mr. Mew. For count 1, I will impose a term of initial confinement of 20 years, followed by 6 years of extended supervision. For count 2, involving Anthony Carlson, 5 years initial confinement, followed by 5 years of extended supervision. Count 3, involving Dante Carlson, 5 years of initial confinement, followed by 5 years of extended supervision. Count 4, Alexander Martin, 6 years of initial confinement, followed by 5 years of extended supervision. Count 5, Riley Madison, 5 years initial confinement, followed by 5 years of extended supervision. Count 6, Madison Cohen, 270 days of jail. Mr. Mew is not eligible for challenge incarceration program or the earned release program due to his age and the nature of these offenses. The sentences on all 6 counts will run concurrent. I am imposing a concurrent sentence because Mr. Mew's conduct toward each of his victims was part of a single continuous act over a short period of time. The periods of confinement take into consideration Mr. Mew's entire behavior, not just the behavior directed at any one particular individual. The conditions of extended supervision will include the following: maintain absolute sobriety, no possession of drugs or alcohol. You shall not enter any establishment where the primary purpose is the sale of alcohol. This will include places like bars, taverns, liquor stores, beer tents, and the like. You must complete an AODA assessment. You must comply with all recommendations of the Compass Assessment and the Department of Corrections. You must pay core costs and DNA surcharge on each count. You must submit a DNA sample. He may not have any contact with Isaac Schumann's family, including Elena and Donnie Hernandez and Scott Schumann. He may not have contact with Alexander Martin, Riley Madison, Anthony Carlson, Dante Carlson, or Madison Cohen. He is responsible for restitution. The state must submit its restitution demand within 30 days. The defense may have 30 days thereafter to object. If there is an objection, the matter will be scheduled for a restitution hearing. Because Mr. Mew is convicted of serious felonies, he may not possess firearms, he may not possess body armor. He may not vote or hold public office until his civil rights are restored. If he were to do any of those things contrary to law, he would subject himself to additional criminal penalties. If he violates the no contact orders, he may also subject himself to additional criminal penalties. Does the state agree on the credit calculation, 732 days?
Yes.
All right, 732 days credit. Mr. Mew is remanded to the custody of the sheriff for delivery to the Dodge Reception Center. Is there anything else for today, Mr. Anderson?
No.
Mr. Nelson?
No, Judge.
All right. Thank you all. We stand adjourned.
So 20 years he is sentenced. He was, I believe he was 52 years old at the time of the stabbings. So the likelihood of Nicolae Mew living any sort of life once he does get out, if he makes it that long, is slim to none. Sad case. That's all for this one. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.